I know what we're all thinking. Wow, I'm stuck inside. What am I gonna do? Well, here's a thought. Say, oh, I don't know, you could learn to video edit? But how in the heck are you going to do that? Through this video, of course, where I walk you through the basics of iMovie, the free video editing application that comes on every Apple computer. iMovie is an excellent video editing program and is capable of many things, from short films and commercials to music videos and photo montages.
Years ago, I began my filmmaking career on iMovie, and I learned quite a lot.
Cool, so I haven't convinced you? You're gonna do it? Okay, great. Okay, great. So first we're gonna open up iMovie. If it's not on your desktop like it is in mine, you can find it in the applications area of your computer, iMovie. So when you open up, you get the projects page initially. So you can either choose a previous project or you can create a new one. So I'm going to create a new project using the plus button. So we have two options with the plus button. One of them is for movie. So movie is the more versatile of the modes, and it allows you to do a lot of different things. The second one is trailer, which is a fun, simple template that you plop in things as directed, and then from there you're able to create a project. So that's kind of fun, but it is a little less versatile. So we're going to be using movie today. So, all right. So this is sort of the main screen here. So let's go over what we have in here. So in the main part of iMovie at the bottom, we have this area, which is where your editing will take place. So this is called the timeline. So we'll be adjusting clips, adding effects and titles, audio, all that stuff will be happening down there. Up at the top right, this is your viewer panel, so you can see everything that would be going on. So when you're looking at media, it will play in this window. And then at the top left up here, you have your import media. So this is our media panel. So you're able to import your media from here and view it that way. So let's take a look at stuff above that. So right at the top, we have the project button. So if you press this, it'll ask you to save, and then you can go back to the project window that we saw. So I'm going to call this Nature Adventure. So now I can choose my old one, my movie one, or I can do Nature Adventure. So I'm going to stick with Nature Adventure. All right. So right next to that button, the project button we looked at before, we have this right here, which is the show or hide media library. So it collapses this area. And so you get a little more real estate to work with your player and your timeline. So it would just be these two. So can be handy. And then right to the right of that, we have our import video from a camera or folder on your computer button. So this is how we will bring footage into our project. It's important to know that there's many ways to do a lot of the same stuff. A lot of editors have this, so don't be too freaked out if you find something a different way or if you're more comfortable with other things. I'm just giving you some of the basics, then you can sort of work from there. So let's begin by importing some media. So I'm going to hit the import media button that we talked about before. So I'm going to find my media. All right, so let's go to the desktop. I put all of my media inside of a folder that I called Nature Adventure because I knew that was the name of the project. I would recommend you organize your assets for the project before you even start editing. So I knew that I would have footage, so I put all of my footage in one folder, and then I knew I'd have music, so I put it in another. So for now, we're just going to take all of the footage and we're just going to highlight it all like I did. Shows you a little bit of metadata here, and then you can click Import All. So wow, now in our media panel, you can see that we have all of these clips. Yay. So a few things to notice. You can scrub through the clip like this to see what happens on them. So you'll see that it's showing up on my viewer wherever I put this little line here. That's cool. And at the top left, you can see the duration. So 16.7 seconds. If I go over here, you'll see 14.3. But you're able to scrub through and see the full clip this way, which is really great and helps you select what part of the clip you want to edit with, which is really exciting. So that's cool. So look at all these. We're keeping the project pretty simple today, so that way it's not too overwhelming. All right, so let's bring some of the footage down to the timeline. So you can click and drag the whole clip down there, or you can just choose a specific portion of it. So here you can see I just plopped the whole clip down there. I'm going to delete that just for the sake of showing you. And instead of taking the whole clip, I just want to have a smaller selection of what I choose. So which is called a subclip. So I'm going to create a subclip by using these little brackets and moving them here. So that's where the start point is. And then taking this other bracket, moving it here. And now I have a like 4-second, you can see how long it is subclip. And now I can either drag it right down or I can hit this little plus button. And you see it just plopped the footage down there. So now we have that. So another way to take a subclip is so you can grab these brackets and do it like that, or you can bring this bar right here, this little playhead as we call it, right to where you want it. So I want it right at this cliff, and I'm going to press I, which is a hotkey for starting this subclip process. I actually stands for in point. So that's the in point of that clip, and then I want it to go to about here. So I'm going to press O, which is the hotkey for the out point. So we have the in point, we have the out point. And from there, I'm going to just press this little plus button. So what it's going to do is it's going to put it on the timeline, but it's just going to plop it to the end of the timeline. So now we have 2 clips, and this is our timeline. So if I just press play, I'm going to move, again, this bar, which I'm calling the playhead. I'm going to press space, which will let me watch what we have so far. So now we have 4 seconds of this shot, and it goes right into that shot. Pretty cool. So you'll notice that the timeline is bigger than the full window. So I'm going to change the scale of that. And you can do that by pressing Command minus or Command plus. That'll change the scale. You can also, so it won't change the amount of time that these clips are on. It will just change the size of them. It'll still be 4 seconds for this first clip, but it just makes it look bigger or smaller depending on your preference. So you can, again, Command minus will make it smaller, Command plus will make it bigger, or you can use this little slider here and change the size. So I just want them to be, and then you can move where you want to go in the timeline from there. So I'm going to do just one more in and out point, one more subclip so that we can get comfortable. So again, you can either drag it from the left and the right to the place you want. I'm going to do 4 seconds. That's what I like about this mode is you can see how long the seconds are. 4.1 is good enough. We can shave it down later in the timeline. And I'm going to plop it right there. And then for this one, I'm going to use the in and out key points. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is using I and O. So I'm going to hit I right there where I want it to start, goes under the bridge. And then I'm going to hit O, and I'm going to press plus. All right, so this is, again, pretty big. So I'm going to zoom out with minus. And now we can see everything. All right, so let's see. I have approximately 4 seconds on each shot. I kind of want to make them even. So one thing you can do is you can actually resize everything when you're on the timeline. So when you go to the edge of any clip, you'll see this little double arrow right here. And what you can do is you can click and drag this to right where you want. Okay, I'm going to do 4 seconds. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. So you can create the size, the approximate size up here, and then you can adjust it as you want. So you can do it at the front, and you'll see that the other clips are collapsing inward. So there's no blank space as you cut or add anything. So we got 4 seconds, and then this one's a little long. I think I want to take it off of the back. So I'm going to move this until it's 4 seconds. And now we have every clip should be 4 seconds. So that's pretty cool. Cool. Hope you all are feeling all right with this so far. So yeah, let's keep going. So we've talked about trimming or extending the clip. One thing we can also do is called splitting the clip. So in order to do that, you choose a point. So I clicked on this clip. I want to split it in half approximately. So in order to split it in half, I'm going to press Command B, and that's how you cut it in half. And now you'll see that there are 2 clips. And then if you want to just get rid of one of them, you highlight the one you want to get rid of and you press delete. You can also move these around. Let's say that I wanted this clip to go second, actually. I like the flowers going into this little bridge shot. So I'm going to just plop that down there. Let's say, the cold shot, I kind of want it in the back. So I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to just plop it in the back. So you can reorder these however you want. So that's cool. All right, so let's just take a look. So we've got 4 seconds on this flower shot. We've got 2 seconds on this bridge zoom, and then we have another 4-second shot going into the snow drone shot. Pretty cool. So it seems like we have a lot of the basics of video. So now what I want to do is import some audio. So if you remember, we're going to go back to this import button, this little down arrow, and we're going to go back to find where I put my music. So I have 3 tracks here. So I just selected them. I'm going to import them all. And you'll see that they actually come up as these little green things. So let's take a listen. All right, that's kind of cool. Let's check this one out. I kind of like that one. It's pretty loud. We'll adjust that later if that's what we choose. And then this one. So you can scrub again. So I'll start in the middle. All right, I think I'm going to choose the second one, even though it is a little loud. But okay, so all you have to do is you just drag it down below the video. And bam, now we have this. So all right, so the audio is going to change the way you cut because you're going to be responding to music. So what I'm going to do first is actually adjust the volume. So I'm going to just take this down. So you can see there's this little bar here, and you get an up and down arrow. I'm just going to click and drag maybe to, I don't know, 71%. Let's hear how that sounds. All right, so I'm going to go a little lower just for my preferences. Let's go to 56. All right, cool. So at this point, I actually I want it to switch on that beat. So I felt that it's switching. So, and then I want it to switch to the last one here. So let's just watch that one more time. Excellent. All right, I'm going to make this a little longer, and then we can make it so that it's not 2.7 minutes. It's a funny way of showing time. This is very long, the audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and you get this little menu here. I'm going to hit split clip, and then I'm just going to delete this side. So now we just have this. But now there's a quick fall off with the sound. So that doesn't feel right. So one more thing that we can do is we can add a fade out on the clip. So there are these little circles on both sides, on the front or end of the audio clip. I'm just going to click and drag so you can see that there's a little arch that happens here, and so there'll be a bit of a fade out. So let's just listen. So that's pretty cool. So it's not quite as abrupt. So it's good to do these a lot with music, to have these fade in, fade out. So excellent. All right, we've gotten through a lot so far. One quick thing to note is that if you make a mistake, all you have to do is hit Command-Z and it will undo, which is a old standby. Anybody who's doing a lot with computers right now knows the old Command-Z trick, so it applies to iMovie as well. So, great. All right, so we've gone over a lot, and how are you feeling? Are you overwhelmed, confused, or are you feeling really confident and excited to go? If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email at peter@cctvcambridge.org. But we still have some more learning to do, so let's keep going. Okay, let's do some fun stuff and add transitions. That's pretty easy. So to do that, you just go up here to the transition tab. I'm just going to click right on that. So there are a bunch of different transitions. So you can actually sort of see what they look like by scrubbing across. The cross blur, ooh, fade to black, nice. Fade to white, spin in, all these kinds of things. So these first 4 are pretty standard and good to use. So a cross dissolve is probably the most useful one aside from a hard cut. So I'm just going to place it in between 2 clips. So you just click on that, and now let's just take a watch. So that's cool. Well, let's just keep trying them out. So I'm going to take a cross blur just in between these clips, and then I'll do a fade to black. And then I'll just put a fade to white at the end and see what happens. So let's just watch through. Cool, and that's how you use transitions. You can change the duration of them. So let's say this one, I'd like it to be longer. If you double click on these little transition icons, it'll give you a duration option. So I'm gonna make it longer. Let's make it a 2-second one. So let's see how that looks. So it takes a lot longer. So versus the 1 second that it originally went on. So that's part of the fun of editing, is really determining how you want these things to work. So double click on the transition icon, you're able to change the duration. Very cool. So definitely experiment with all this. This is definitely all really fun and very useful. So let's add titles. So it's pretty easy to do. You just go over to the titles tab, and then you can sort of take a look. There's some preset animation on a lot of these titles. Some of these are just basic. Other ones have this kind of animation. So you can click around. We've got the expand. Ooh, dramatic. We've got that. Expand lower third. Very cool. Less is more a lot of this time, but it can be really fun to mess around. So totally up to you. I think I'm going to do this line one. I kind of like that. And I'm going to make this kind of like a closing title. So this is kind of an introduction to my big nature adventure. So anyways, so basically you just click and drag, and you drag it on top of the video track, okay? And I just click and plop it. And now, so I want it to hit right when that music point hits here. So, wow, the title comes on. So now to adjust the title, you can double click on it when the playhead is over. So I'm going to call it Nature Adventure, and you can adjust this as you see fit. You can change fonts here and the size and all this stuff, the formatting. It works like most text editors. So let's take a look. Let's see how that looks. Very cool. You can also use a background. They have some of these preset backgrounds that you can put on, and they work like a regular video layer. So let's say you like this little blob background, or industrial, or gradient. Ooh, I'm gonna put stars. I like stars, so I'm gonna have it end. I'm gonna make the music a little longer, and then I'm gonna add my little So I'm going to add, now that's how you just drag a background on, but I'm going to add another title. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to call it Film by Peter. I cannot spell, but yeah. So now you can do your little credits here, and then I might add a fade to black. So I'm going to take a transition, and I'm going to have this time it's going to fade to black. So from there, which will be nice. So that's a nice ending. So let's just take a look. So from the and bam, that's really all the basics. So great. So there's a few other things that are good to know. You can add a voiceover pretty easily. You choose a part where you want it to start. So I'm going to just click on the clip there. And now I'm going to click this little button right here, and you can record the voiceover. It's going to give me a few second count in when I press this red button, and then I will record my voiceover. So let's try it out. So at this part of the adventure, I was really blown away by this beauty, and wow, this is Peter's Nature Adventure. And it's a film. It's a film by Peter. Great. And that's it. So now you can listen. So yeah, so it's, I didn't do a great job on that, but you understand the functionality. So you just pretty much choose a point. You hit this little record button, it'll give you a count in, and then you can record your voiceover and make a really breathtaking and expressive little film. So great. So it's another cool feature. So we just have a few more things. I mean, at this point, I think you know enough to really get started, but let's just go over a few special things. So yeah, you can see that you can mess with the picture a little bit. So this magic wand is the automatic button. It sort of tampers the picture to what it determines based on whatever its software is the right choice. So I'm going to click that and you'll see it sort of brighten things up. The greens are a little greener, etc. I'm going to reset all because I don't really want to do that. Here you can do some other color correction options. This one is called the color balance. So you can do auto color balance. That's pretty cool. Or you could do match color. And basically you'd be choosing a frame where you wanted the color to match. I mean, it's pretty powerful automatic stuff. You can choose what white is, and you can choose what the skin tone is. So there's a lot of really intuitive stuff. So I'm going to reset all again. Next to this is probably the most versatile one. It's called the color correction. So you can change the contrast here using these sliders. You can affect the blacks or you can affect the whites, like the lightness point. So light, maybe I want a little more contrast in this. You can affect saturation, so you can get completely black and white, or you can blow out the color like that and get very oversaturated. I'm going to do something in between here, and then you can also affect the white balance here. So if you want it to be really warm and orange or cold and blue, you can do that. So let's just take a look. I'm going to hit reset just to show you what I did, and then I'm going to press Command Z to redo what I did because I kind of like this better. It's sort of popping now. So that's cool. Again, don't let any of this part really upset you. This is just additional things that you can play with as you get more comfortable. So next up we have cropping. So you can do a fit. You can do a Ken Burns effect, which is a slow zoom. If you've ever seen any Ken Burns documentaries, it's typically used on photos and other things, but slow zooms are also used in footage, etc. You can rotate the clip with these buttons. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So next to this, we're not going to go into this, but this is stabilization. So if you have some shaky camera going on and you want to smooth it out, this is a pretty intuitive feature that you can just click and it will try to zero in on a point and try to counteract some of that shaky camera, which is very cool. Next up, we have the volume. So you could do a little more audio work if you'd like with this. And then we have noise reduction and equalizer, which is pretty cool. So that's worth checking out when you get into it. You can affect the speed of a clip. So since I have this clip highlighted, you can make it fast or you can make it normal or slow, whatever you want. I'm just going to sort of keep it as is. And then from here, you can do filters. So they have all these preset filters. So if you wanted to do black and white, if you wanted it to have whatever look you want, they have aged film, other stuff, duotone, sci-fi, it's kind of a fun, easy way to get your feet wet on that front. So, and then, yeah, clip information. This will just show you a little bit of metadata when it was taken, which I don't know if that date is correct, and the duration of the clip. And yeah, that's basically it. So those are most of the features of iMovie. This last section, again, don't let it overwhelm you. If you're a beginner, you can get to this stuff in time, but really just get comfortable with the basics because that's really the foundation of everything that you do with editing. So the final thing that we're going to do is export. To export is to create a watchable video file. So we're going to take what we have. So we have this whole little timeline, this little sequence here. And I'm going to go up to this top right area. See this box with an arrow coming out the top of it. So there's a bunch of options. I'm going to recommend that we use File. This is the most versatile way to go, but you can connect it to your Facebook, your Vimeo, YouTube, however you see fit. So I'm going to just do File though. So we're going to call it Nature Adventure. You can make a description. It wrote one for me. This video is about nature adventure. Great description. I'm going to keep it. Your format, I'm going to do video and audio. If you, for some reason, just wanted audio, you want to make an MP3, you could do that. And then you can choose your resolution. I'd probably recommend 1080p if that's what you shoot in. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. And then as far as quality is concerned, you can you can choose different qualities, but the higher you go, you'll see that the estimated size goes up. So the way that it was at just high is 45.5 megabytes. And then if you go up to best. If you go up to best, you'll see that it's, 5 or 6 times as large. So I'm just going to do high, and then you can go, if you have time, the compression, I would choose better quality, but if you're in a rush, I would just do faster. So I'm going to do better quality, and we're going to hit next, and then I'm going to choose where I want to put it. I'm just going to throw it on my desktop for now, save, and here we go. So it's going to be exporting. So this little wheel right now is going to be doing its thing. So when it is done, we will have a video file that we can watch. All right, looks like that wheel disappeared. So let me just go take a look. Nature adventure. So I'm going to just open this up with QuickTime. And great work, everyone. Learning a new program can be a little overwhelming, but after just 2 or 3 sessions, I'm sure you're going to feel quite comfortable with it. I'm a big fan of video editing, and I really love talking about it and helping people. So if you have any questions, email me at peter@cctvcambridge.org. So keep being creative, keep staying sane, keep having fun, and I will see you next time.